The country's second-largest city, Lae in the Morobe province, is in for a major boost in the coming months, brought on by the robust economic activities that's placed Papua New Guinea #1 among developing economies in the Pacific, riding on an 8.9% gross domestic product, or GDP growth, recorded last year. I'm Festus Maiganap. Welcome to this edition of Business PNG. With projections that the strong economic growth will continue, the industrial capital is witnessing new projects of national significance, two of which are the expansion of the existing port and the construction of a new tidal basin, berths and container terminal, one that's considered significant to the national stock of transport infrastructure. But first, I visited Lae recently to find out about the innovative initiatives that PNG Ports Corporation has embarked on to ensure operational efficiency with ship-to-shore productivity. Located in the industrial capital, this port facility is Papua New Guinea's largest and accounts for 60% of the nation's trade. In actual fact, it's already recognized as the largest port in the Pacific due to the increase in imported goods, more so for manufacturing and mining infrastructure. Being the main transshipment port in the country, it is better described as the gateway to the country's industrial and commercial trade and is one of the busiest in the southwestern Pacific. The facility is made up of 3 overseas berths, 2 coastal and a tanker berth. In total, the berthing area runs a length of over 600 meters. This is the main berth area, which obviously is the overseas berth. It has a length of 470 meters and has a yard storage capacity of 37,159.13 square meters. It can hold more than 3,000 20-foot containers. That's apart from break bulk cargo such as heavy machinery, cement, pipes and vehicles. The coastal wharf area has a storage capacity of 16,316.57 square meters, enough to hold 1,482 20-foot containers. And put this together with the storage capacity of the overseas wharf, you'd get a total 55,317.82 square meters. Now, with the activity pressure here, PNG Ports Corporation is in for a massive change in its operations through the introduction of modern machinery, customized information and communication technology solutions, and a terminal operating system. This is intended to make port operations effective and efficient, and to cater for the anticipated increase in trade. The corporation has deployed sophisticated offshore mobile harbor cranes, or MCGs, and rubber-tired gantry cranes, or RTGs, complete with modern terminal operating systems here and in Port Moresby, to achieve work efficiency, the ultimate aim being to minimize storage congestion and decrease ship turnaround time.
In line with the company's change management agenda, PNG Ports has introduced RTGs, rubber-tired gantry cranes and mobile harbor cranes. In actual fact, these equipments are not new to the industry worldwide, but they are new to Papua New Guinea in terms of PNG Ports operations. So the RTGs, we have 20 operators. The first 10 we got the last at the beginning of this year, and the next 10 just recently. Amongst the recent 10 staff, we have 2 employees, female staff, as per the company's gender equity and equal opportunity and equal participation in the development of PNG Ports and the country as a whole.
Since November last year, 7 RTGs and 3 MHCs have been trialed here, with full operations to commence once training of operators, commercial arrangements and insurance matters are in place. An RTG stands 31.75 meters tall, 13.2 meters wide and 26.67 meters in length. In the last 9 months, it has proven to revolutionize the way in which containers are stacked in the port. From the previous stacking ability of 3 containers high with the use of forklifts and spreaders, the RTGs can now stack up to 6 containers high and 5 containers wide. PNG Ports Corporation is taking practical steps to deliver on its promise to improve operational efficiency with ship-to-shore productivity, despite the negative criticisms. Current as it is, all extra costs are either consumed by the importer or passed on to the consumer and adds to the inflationary prices of goods. The introduction of these innovative machines, however, have proven their worth to the corporation's cause, and that is to be more customer-focused and to strengthen its corporate citizenship by working to minimize cost of goods and services to the people. Simply put, ship-to-shore productivity has seen an ease on inflationary pressure. The corporation has also strategized to increase yard utilization while providing a fit-for-purpose land support infrastructure for trade, enabling authorities such as clearing agents and logistical service providers to effectively carry out their roles within the port. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, in his maiden speech to the nation, said one of his priority areas is to repair and maintain existing infrastructure and to create new services to spur economic development. Acting on this prerogative, Public Enterprises and Investments Minister Ben Micah visited the waterfront development projects recently. That story right after the break. Public Enterprises and Investments Minister Ben Micah visited the waterfront projects recently, projects that will consolidate Lae City further as the country's industrial hub. The expansion of the existing port facility and the construction of a new tidal basin, berths and container terminal are set to create over 600 new jobs and open up more business opportunities. It's anticipated several more jobs will follow for Lae people, while creating more opportunities for local businesses. These are critical infrastructure projects that will have a huge impact on Lae and the Momase Highlands region, particularly in the resource, industrial and agricultural sectors, bringing new jobs and wealth creation opportunities for local people. All this is reflective of the growth in the economy that has triggered a large increase in traffic handled at the Lae port in recent years, from 1.7 million revenue tons in 2001 to 2.4 million revenue tons in 2005. That number has increased over the last 7 years. An updated report for the Lae port alone shows that January to August this year recorded a total of over 1.6 million revenue tons, with total containers recorded at over 67,000. In his visit, Minister Micah met with those involved in the development of the 2 projects to ensure they are completed as quickly and cost-effectively as possible. Of the 2 projects, the new tidal basin, berth and container terminal will cost over 700 million kina. 70% of the total cost has been funded by the Asian Development Bank and the remaining 30% by the government through its Independent Public Business Corporation, the major shareholder of all state entities. This project will reduce congestion cost and allow a higher level of shipping activity through the addition of another 250-meter wharf space, making it a cost-effective one-stop transshipment port in the country. Work on this multi-million kina project has already started by contractor China Harbour Engineering Company and is anticipated to be completed in 2015.
Which is going to be a huge expansion to the existing port facilities, and which will increase the capacity of the Lae port to a level where I can safely say it will be the biggest in the South Pacific.
It is a huge project that IPBC is only too pleased to work with ports, and again with ELA working together with the ADB and the construction companies. They make a good team. They're working well together to deliver this project on time.
When asked about the ongoing landowner issues, Minister Michael said it is one area that's on the government's top priority list.
This is not an impossible issue that cannot be resolved. I want to assure the landowners of Lae and the people of the city of Lae and leaseholders that if this issue has not been resolved, if it is going to affect part of my responsibilities in my ministry, I will be in front to resolve it.
The state has an agreement with China Harbour Engineering Corporation that will employ local labor and contractors wherever possible. IPBC's project management unit will discuss this issue with the Busulum clan and Chinese contractor to make more work forthcoming. The other project is the extension of the existing port facility. This project also had its hurdles. This is the main overseas wharf. It will be extended by another 150 meters. Work on the extension exercise was halted due to legal issues. However, Minister Micah gave assurance that the issue is already solved and the contractor, Nawai Construction, has commenced on the extension exercise.
It was delayed for more than 3 years due to the incompetencies and petty administrative issues between PNG ports and the previous boards and management and IPBC. I am happy to announce that over the last few days, the PNG port management and board and the IPBC board and management with the contractor Nawai have resolved the issues of contention.
He indicated that the government will look at the possibility of further cost recovery measures to the project. Meanwhile, in a recent interview, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill confirmed that the country's general economic outlook looks promising, with the many unique opportunities which the government is going to take advantage of. The Prime Minister said there are many major projects, both existing and upcoming, that will solidify the economic strength. Secured long-term projects include the multi-billion Kina LNG project that has a 20-year contract with Japanese, Chinese and Taiwanese customers, and mining projects that the government is embarking on, many of which are in their development stages with world-class developers who've got established markets throughout the world.
So selling those resources will not be much of a difficulty. So on predictions, because of the increase in revenue, we should now invest that into infrastructure. While we have the opportunity, while we have the resources, we must make infrastructure that will sustain the growth of our economy and improve the quality of our living standards for our people. So I think all in all, we must maintain the confidence of the investors. We must make the business community conducive, so that the business environment conducive, so that investors can continue to invest in various projects throughout the country. We must continue to build the non-mining sector, particularly agriculture. We must make sure that we free up land that is now being tied up in customary ownership. We must free it up by arranging lease structures without losing the ownership of the land.
However, with the current budget deficit of over 500 million kina, Prime Minister O'Neill said his government will be strict on government expenditure. He said this year was difficult because of the elections and increased payroll structures of some of the provinces.
But we are taking that back on stream, and we are ensuring that we conform to the budget appropriations that we have set in Parliament. So everybody must stick to the budget that has been set, so that we can deliver a good outcome of the budget at the end of the year.
After the break, we speak to Bronwyn Pease, country manager of Maersk Line, the world's largest shipping liner. If you've just joined us, you're watching Business PNG. Now, Maersk Line is the world's largest shipping liner, operating the largest fleet of container vessels in over 35 countries. Our current market in the shipping industry, triggered by our consistent growth in the economy, has drawn this company to set up operations here.
Welcome to the show, Bronwyn. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Bronwyn, you've been with Maersk Line and PNG for how long?
I've only been based in Maersk Line for just over a year, but I've been working with Maersk for 25 years. It wasn't always Maersk Line, but through other company takeovers, it's ended up with Maersk.
Right, and tell us a bit about your operations in PNG and who is Maersk Line?
Okay, Maersk Line is the largest shipping line in the world. We have offices in over 35 countries. We operate a large fleet of container vessels, and we have the largest container fleet in the world. We specialise in refrigerated cargo, so we have highly technologically advanced equipment. In PNG, we're only a fairly recent entry into the market, having our own dedicated service. So we operate 2 vessels with a 14-day rotation, calling at the ports of Port Moresby and Lae. In Lae, we also ship a lot of cargo to and from Madang and Wewak.
Okay, so what do you think the biggest challenges are for operating, for Maersk Line operating in PNG?
Certainly the biggest challenges we've faced since we've arrived here are infrastructure, certainly one of the biggest, low berth productivity. We have seen slight improvements throughout the last 18 months, and hopefully that trend will continue. Other barriers to us doing business here has been the congestion at the wharf. We're facing huge delays at both ports that we call at. Currently our average delay in Port Moresby is almost 6 days average, and Lae, this time of year with heavy rains, the average waiting time has now blown out to 10 days.
Oh goodness. Any suggestions in how to improve those services?
An area that Maersk Line's worked quite closely with other operators around the world has been the introduction of fixed berthing windows. So basically we would have a booked time slot to come onto the berth every week or every fortnight, whatever the schedule was for the vessel. That way there's no waiting time outside the port. We can come in and we can anchor and we can berth and commence discharge operations. That leads to huge benefits for the customer, for the ultimate buyers of the goods. Customers are able to accurately predict the arrival date and time of their goods.
Right.
So in turn they can book transport ahead of time, they could arrange pre-clearance with customs. They can also reduce the inventory that they're having to hold in their warehouses. By knowing that the goods are going to arrive on time, it eliminates the need to keep massive buffer stocks, which a lot of companies in PNG do today. In turn, the terminals are able to better plan. They can, knowing specific volumes of cargoes on the dates they're going to arrive, they can plan labour, they can plan the stacking arrangements within the wharf.
Right.
So it leads to improved efficiencies all around.
Any specific countries where you've used this? Did you say berthing window? Yeah,
we refer to it as fixed berthing windows.
Right.
We have had considerable success with fixed berthing windows in other ports in the world, and in fact Maersk actually operates many of our own terminals around the world. So we do draw a lot on our own experience with the containers that we own, the terminals that we own and operate. But we've also worked very closely with a lot of ports in Africa in recent years, and had very good success with those ports. What we did is we worked with a lot of stakeholders, and we tried to introduce them to the benefits that we had seen in other ports. And it was a slow progress. We had to meet many times, and we then worked with the port authorities in some locations, and we helped draft up governance documents as to how it would work. And then we involved other stakeholders, right down to transport companies, the old customers purchasing goods at the wharf. Okay, so I can refer to some statistics on improvements we saw in other countries. So in April 2010, we introduced fixed berthing to Durban in South Africa.
Right.
The berth productivity, so when I say berth productivity, I mean the number of container moves per hour, increased from 42 to 58, so an improvement of 39%. Annual throughput for the port since 2010 has increased over 8% a year. Dakar we introduced fixed berthing windows in July 2008. The berth production increased 36% from 18 to 25, and the annual throughput of containers through the port since the introduction of berthing windows has grown over 18%. TEMA berthing windows were introduced in July 2009.
Right.
The berth productivity has improved from 26 to 31,
Wow.
so an improvement of 17% there, and the annual throughput has increased over 13%. So case studies in many other ports where fixed berthing windows has been introduced, the data continues to show that it is certainly an improvement for the port.
It certainly sounds like it from your statistics.
We'll have more of the interview when we come back. Maersk Line confirms that PNG Ports Corporation's efforts to ensure operational efficiency with ship-to-shore productivity has been fruitful. However, they have their own ideas which could enhance and complement works at our port facilities.
In order to introduce that into PNG, who would need to partner with you? Who would need to be the big players in that?
Okay, the initial discussions would need to be held with PNG Ports. They would be the key stakeholder.
Right.
But then we would also need to then introduce stevedores. And there's no reason that we can't then extend the stakeholders to be involved in the process right down the line. I mean, the initial phases is gaining support.
Right.
This is prior to drawing up any documents as to how it would work. So really the more stakeholders that can be involved in the initial discussions, so we can really map out the benefits from it. So right down to transport companies, importers, any port users, and ultimately anybody who will benefit from on-time delivery of their goods.
Right. Do you think the public sector or the government specifically could be doing more to help this situation?
I think there is significant investment by the government. Obviously PNG Ports is a state-owned enterprise, so there is considerable backing by the government. But we have recently seen a change in the board of PNG Ports, and we've been very pleased to see that there has been significant progress made with a number of projects they're working on. So PNG Ports is certainly working to try and improve current productivity rates, to decrease the current berth occupancy rate, to be able to improve the throughput and improve the congestion on the berth. So the introduction of mobile harbour cranes, rubber-tied gantries will all contribute. They also have been working on a terminal operating system, so all port users will benefit from cargo movements being recorded by the port rather than individual stevedores. So there is a lot of work going into making improvements, which would then lead, obviously, to further refine current processes. There are other factors which contribute to the ability for PNG Ports at the moment to be able to offer the fixed berthing windows. And I think the biggest thing that comes to mind potentially is ICCC, where I guess all users of the port and all shipping companies need to have access to the same set of rules and regulations.
Right.
So there is work to be done, obviously, with other factions within PNG to make it a reality.
But do you believe the situation is improving?
I think we see inroads made in some areas, but then they're outweighed by worsening condition in other areas. So I can certainly say from experience, since we've brought our liner service into PNG, we have not really seen any improvements in the waiting time at the ports. Yeah.
And that is unfortunate.
Yes, absolutely. The end cost to consumers is quite considerable, because ultimately at the end of the day, the cost for vessels sitting at ports needs to be passed on to somebody.
That's
so
right.
It's adding value to the end price of the goods.
It is. It is. Bronwyn, I thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
I was speaking with Bronwyn Peace, the Country Manager PNG for Maersk Line.
And that has been our edition of Business PNG. To view this program again or any of our past episodes for that matter, you can log on to our website at www.mtv.com.pg and go to our Business PNG page. For comments and suggestions, send them through to the address now shown on your screen. Until next Tuesday, bye for now.